welcome to the Watchin It podcast. On today's show, Robert has a love-hate relationship with trains, Donnell gets old and crippled, and on Snowpiercer, so we've come to the end of the line. I'm your host, Donnell, and with me as always is Robert. Robert, how you doing, man? How's everything?
I've been sleeping like 3 hours a night for like 2 weeks. I am playing Satisfactory. 1.0
is,
just came out
is it
a couple of
satisfying?
weeks. It is most of the time. It is very addicting.
Yeah.
They got all the right sounds to activate the right chemicals in the brain. It's good stuff, and I play like 12 hours a day. It's sometimes more. I'm not eating. I've lost weight.
I mean, maybe you could pitch it as like a weight loss
There you
plan.
go. There you go.
I played Satisfactory and lost 10 pounds.
Anybody who plays Satisfactory or Factorio, just remember to work out and stretch at regular intervals. Get off
Up.
the couch,
Yes.
walk around a bit every couple of hours.
It definitely seems like the type of game that you could easily get up in the morning, start playing, and look up, and it would be 9 o'clock.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. Well, so it originally had, or it has a setting in it that's on by default that every 2 hours tells you you've been playing for 2 more hours. It's basically like, hey, maybe you wanna
They know what type of game
you
they're
wanna get
making.
up and walk around or something and whatnot. I turned that off very quickly.
You're like, I don't need you to keep reminding me what I've been up to.
I'm playing with like 3 other people on a server, and the server was set to reset at midnight. I was like messaging the guy like, "Hey, that's a bit aggressive. Can we push that back to like 3 a.m.? Okay?" 'Cause at midnight, I'm still like, "No, I'd like to continue destroying my body for a few more minutes here."
Yeah, you're like, hold up, I need some more time, dude.
So anyway, Satisfactory
hmm
is a first-person shooter arc survival Factorio game.
Okay.
Factory building game.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is in case everyone who plays video games lives under a rock. They've been developing it for a long time,
Oh yeah. I mean, that's
and
the thing is when they announced 1.0, I was like, that's
it
just
was really
now
crazy
happening.
what they did too because it was just a factory building game in this
hmm
insanely beautiful looking game that has no business being a factory building game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then like when they released 1.0 or they made the announcement that 1.0 was coming out, they're like, "Oh, also we've been secretly developing a storyline that none of you have ever seen or played test or know about,
Yeah.
and we're going to release that at
We're
1.0."
just
So it was
dropping
like,
that.
yeah, basically like half the game
That's
was like we've
awesome.
been hiding it from you
That's
while
awesome.
you've been testing out the core parts, the hard parts where you can really break things,
Yeah.
for us and stuff like that, which is amazing. But yeah, I mean, yeah, if you've ever played Factorio, which everybody should because it's a super fun game. If you like just sitting on the couch for 1,000 hours and tediously arranging things and doing math.
Yes.
But it really is crazy how good it looks.
Yeah. No, it looks amazing.
And that it really does just have this whole first person shooter aspect because you're on an alien planet trying to do this while the monsters are like, we don't want you to do
Yeah.
this. And so,
Monsters
yeah,
aren't for the capitalism.
yeah. Anyway, fantastic game, worth checking out, but you really gotta.
Yeah.
It is not for someone who has like a 60-hour a week job.
No, no.
Not gonna happen. This is the first video game like I've really played in a long, like maybe like a year,
Yeah.
like really gotten into. So
Yeah.
yeah, good to have one every now and
It
then.
is.
A
No,
game
it's
you can really
nice.
sink your teeth into.
hmm
Definitely got to have an end though. That's what it has is an end.
Nice.
I can't play those games that don't have end
Mm-mm.
because I'm just like, okay, well now I'll just play forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
And
right,
that was the
Donnell,
last time anybody saw Robert.
tell me about your thing.
So one is just I'm not sure if we touched on it last week, but the old man has come back.
Oh yes, fantastic.
I didn't realize it was coming back, and so I wanted to do a rewatch of season one before I
I
got
did
into
do a
season
rewatch of
two,
season 1 a couple
and
months
so
ago.
that is what I did last week, because I did a rewatch of season one, and I have watched the current episodes also now. But yeah, this show's just fantastic.
It's so
Like
good.
I remember last year when it first was coming out, neither of us knew really what it was. We're like, is this gonna be worth our time? And I think we watched the first two episodes together, and we both were like, yeah. Yeah, this is it. And yeah, rewatching season one, it just like, yeah, got me so ready and stoked. And it's just such a good, so well acted, of course. I mean, you have what's his face?
Jeff Bridges,
Yeah, Steph Bridges. So of
John
course,
Lithgow.
yeah,
Yeah.
John Lithgow, who's phenomenal. And I mean, not that's because I've seen him in other stuff where he's not playing comedic roles, but I have seen him in a lot more comedic roles. And this one, is definitely not that whatsoever. He is a very, very, I don't say evil. I mean, not bad. Just he's not a good guy.
Look, he's a high level FBI
Yeah,
officer.
yeah.
Like you don't get to be like the deputy director of
Without
the
doing some
FBI
shady stuff.
without being you got
Yeah,
to
you don't
decisions
get
have to
there
be
without.
made at that level, and
Yes.
sometimes they aren't great decisions.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
So yeah, but yeah, just great, great show. So glad it's back. Enjoying the second season already. Um, and then also I watched this week. I watched The Penguin, first episode.
Oh, did that come out this
It
week?
did come out
I
this
haven't
week.
checked it out yet. I've been too busy playing
Yes.
Factorio. Sorry, Satisfactory.
Yeah. I'll just say it right now. Fantastic.
Oh, really
Just
good?
one episode, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, I'm glad they made this. Like,
Nice.
they don't answer why, because the one thing I'm thinking, it's about the rise of the penguin, obviously.
Okay.
And
So does
they
this take place before or after the Batman?
after the Batman.
Okay.
They reference the Batman
Because
in the
he was
beginning
still
of
like
it.
a lackey of
Exactly.
Vic,
He's
not Vic Fontaine.
for the Falcons.
Falcons. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Falcons. And yeah, it's very much about
Vic
him.
Fontaine, notably the Star Trek Deep Space Nine reference.
um, and so yeah, basically, you're basically seeing the rise of the penguin, and I mean, it's the same thing I brought up with everything when it comes to these extended universe stuff. It's just that it's like, okay, because the Falcons are in it, and then also the Salamancas, or the rival crime family, and then
Yeah.
of course there's the penguin, and they're doing crimes.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, they're gangs, they're doing crimes, and for the whole time it's like we've established that Batman exists in this universe. Where the
He
hell
can't
is
be
Batman?
everywhere all at
I
once.
guess. I guess that's what they want you to believe, because yeah, it's very much like the and
Because
Matt
Batman
Reeves.
exists.
Yes.
Dive into this for a second.
Mhm.
Batman exists because there's no police. There's
Yes.
no justice
There's
system
very
in
few
Gotham,
actual good.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
Almost all the police are owned, and the ones that are good are too afraid to say anything,
Mhm.
right? So, and all the judges and whatnot are bought.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's Batman crops up because that happens, but that doesn't stop happening just because Batman exists. So you can get away with a lot of stuff.
True. True.
You just
And
Batman catches you
if
sometimes.
it, yeah.
And
One.
then you just he's not a law enforcement officer.
No.
He's not going to show up in court. He's
No.
not going
He's
to
not going to disqualify.
yeah, he's just going to beat you up
Gonna
and hope
beat you
that you
up, leave
stop.
you somewhere for the cops to find, and if they're right or wrong cops, however you want to look at it, find you. You just get off
But
anyways.
guys like the Penguin don't get beat up
No.
usually.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes he does, but
Sometimes
yeah.
in the cartoons,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
sometimes he goes head to head with
Mhm.
Batman with his umbrella and
Yeah.
stuff. I'm gonna ask about that in a second. Uh, but normally it's just the lackeys, and then
Mhm.
there's tons of goons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tons of
Does
goons.
he get an umbrella?
So,
Donnell. Does he have an
it's the
umbrella
first
gun?
episode. He's not.
Maybe that'll be by the end.
Yeah, that's the thing. But they do have this great scene where he's running from somebody. I won't say who, but he's running from somebody, and he pulls up and he looks to his right, and they're just like, oh, it's raining. There's a whole crowd of people with umbrellas, and everybody you're watching like, yeah. And then I won't tell you what happens, but you're just like, what? It's like you just see the umbrellas, like I see where this is going. So yeah, one is Colin Farrell. I
What
mean,
a choice!
yeah, but he is
I mean, he
like
did so good in the
he
Batman.
is like
Yeah.
this. I will say he's the second best penguin at now. He has officially made himself the second
Yeah.
best penguin, and then also just the body shoot, whatever they got him in is fantastic. I mean, you can
Really,
see it
that's a
now.
hard sell because Gotham's Penguin was pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, look, I haven't seen it. You know what?
I
I
will
will make
say
it a point.
I think he will be the second best penguin by the end of this series.
Okay, I will make a point to watch the first
Yeah,
episode by next week, and then I will report back on my because you didn't watch. Did you watch all of Gotham?
not all of it. No.
It's worth a watch. You
Yeah,
absolutely should. Some of the,
I
yeah, just
watched a
really
lot of it,
great.
but yeah, no.
Who would have thought that like I mean Batman's technically kind of in it,
He's
but he's the kid
there.
Bruce
He's a
Wayne, right?
kid.
But who thought that like Gotham, Batman universe without Batman would be
Yeah.
so good, and
Yeah.
it
I mean,
really
and
is
that's
fantastic.
one thing that why coming into the Penguin, I was feeling kind of good because Gotham established
Yeah,
you can have a series in the Batman universe about Batman characters without Batman. Um, but
which they should do more of.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, if Andor taught us anything,
hmm
you know,
So yeah, we got Colin Farrell. He's phenomenal, and then it has our girl Robert, it has Kristen Mi-
Milani.
Milotti, yeah, and
Oh,
she's
who's she
playing
play?
she's playing Falcone's daughter.
Okay.
She is a psychopathic killer.
Nice.
and
She got that smile, dude.
C is fantastic. Like, you could totally believe that C is this character. Um, yeah, and it's just, Clancy Brown's in there. He's the head of, the other crime family, I can't remember what their crime family is called,
Yeah.
but anyways, I'm pretty sure they're not gonna exist by the end of it. I think the Falcons will survive, I don't know for sure yet. But anyways,
Oh, it's got
um
Mark Strong
yeah,
in it.
Mark Strong, yep, and,
Theo Rossi?
wait, Theo Rossi's in it?
Yeah, well, maybe he's not in it yet.
Yeah, if I say he hasn't shown up yet. Okay, yeah, Theo Rossi is gonna be okay, yeah. Michael Kelly, which may not be a name, but when you see his face, you recognize this
Okay,
guy.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Not a name that I knew, but I know the face, yeah.
He plays very well also. He's part of the Falcone family.
Yeah,
Um,
he's a great actor,
and
man.
it's just like I said, it's only one
He was like
episode.
the right-hand man in, like, House of Cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. It's one episode, and I will say it starts out weak. I won't say weak, but weaker than the rest of the episode. So when I first started, I was like, okay, I can see this. This could be entertaining. And by the end, I was like, no, this is fantastic. This is just great. And yeah, so I highly recommend it. If you like the Batman movie, which is another thing that I stepped into, being like, we'll see. And by the end of it, I was like, well, that was amazing. So if you like the Batman, yeah, the Penguin, well worth a watch. Like I said, there's only one episode. Maybe the rest of the episodes are gonna be terrible and it's gonna flop, but from that one episode, I'm like, no, they got something good here.
Nice.
I'm enjoying it already. Looking forward to next week to watch some more of it. Yeah, so there we go. That's what I've been watching.
Well, we're gonna take a break there, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about the series
The
finale
series. Mm-hmm.
of Snowpiercer. It's
Mm-hmm.
been a long railway.
There it is. All right, we are back. And as we said before the break, this is for the series finale.
Season 4,
Season 4,
episode 10.
episode 10, The Last Stop.
Nice. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Good name. Best name
It fits.
in
It
the whole.
fits. Now I just want to see actually real quick. What were some of the first the weather change? I'm just real quick, like looking at some of the titles from previous the time of two engines. See, I feel like
They were all pretty I don't
they
it was all pretty good until
yeah.
this season
I'm
when it
looking
got
at the
wonky.
name from
Again,
previous
I think they
seasons.
threw all the names of all the most of the episodes in a hat
Yeah.
and then just pulled them out at random.
Yeah, no, they previous season, they were nailing it with the titles. I'm just looking at them like I can read the title and remember exactly what that episode was. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, yeah, no, they were killing it with the episodes. And then season 4 happened. I don't know what happened with season 4. Anyways, the last stop.
Starts out with what I thought was gonna be a Melanie
Yeah.
monologue, and I wrote in my notes, "Okay, that's fitting."
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
a
A multi.
multi-log.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
got Melanie, we got Leighton, of course, we got Ruth, we got Till in there.
We got Josie, we got
Josie,
Alex.
got
Yeah.
Alex. Yeah, yeah. Which was very nice.
No
Very nice.
Boki.
No
I
Boki.
feel like Boki was an underutilized character this entire show.
Yes. I feel like, was it season 1, he was
Oh, yeah.
what I would call a
Season 2 as
reoccurring
well. Yeah.
character, and he eventually became what I'd be call a special guest character in the sense of, like, he just showed up when they needed him and wasn't just, like, a part of the show.
And
Um
I mean, during this multi-log, which is fine, it's
Mhm.
good.
Yep.
Uh, there were so many other characters that they left out. They didn't have
Mhm.
Roche in there.
Then yeah, Rose
They
should have
didn't have
been
Miss Alice.
Rose, ever since I mean, he did do the big thing of saving Leighton and all that stuff, but ever since he disappeared, I just felt like he just diminished
I'm with
in
you
his
that I thought he was
capacity.
gonna end up being like a bad guy or something. Like I'm
Mm.
doing it for my kid or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Like there was under a lot of people were underutilized this season.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
think
and
they were just like we don't have much budget. Let's get it done. We can't afford to have everybody in every
I was
episode.
actually thinking that honestly is like just from watching this season, while overall I liked it and was good, it definitely felt like, yeah, there's a lot of just like underused people or barely like kind of just like, hey, I mean, we never got the official Roach story of how the hell he,
Well, he just yeah. I mean, he told
yeah,
his fake story or whatever. I mean,
yeah,
that was just the fun of it, you
I
know.
know, true, true. But yeah,
There's a really great episode of iZombie like that where they're, like, talking about how they it's like, "Oh, it's like a bad action film where they don't have the budget to they just had to show you
yeah,
the scene, so they have to tell you," and it's like the whole show, like, the main cop guys just, like, coming in, like, drenching wet or covered in blood or
yeah,
something, like, "You can't believe the crazy thing that just happened. I jumped out of a fourth-story building into a limo that dived into the ocean," and all this it's very funny.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh, did not say the number of cars
I noticed
at the
that.
end of the
I
monologue. That
thought that
was
was
I was like,
very weird.
"What?"
That was jarring also. I was just
Yeah.
like, "Wait, what?" That was more jarring than Javi switching to English at the end of his monologue.
Why did they
I
do that?
don't
Why
know.
did
I
they do
don't know, and it still bugged me.
that?
But yeah, no cars, just on Snowpiercer, which is that
Yeah.
just different. I was yeah. I wonder what was the thought process. Like, is that like to
Mm.
signal the end or to signal that it's no longer about the train? It's
I
about
think so. I think it
yeah,
was just trying to be jarring, and
yeah,
they did it. They
yeah.
succeeded. They were like, I was waiting to hear that final count,
That final
and we
count,
didn't get
man.
it." And they were just like,
It's
caught
like
my breath. That and great. Look, this episode start about until first like 3/4. I'm
mhm.
like, this is one of the best series finales I've seen. Not the best. It's
Yeah,
not like grand scale, but
yeah.
it's not bad.
It was
It kind of
exactly.
tapers off towards the last
It
few minutes, which we'll get to. But
yes, we will,
uh,
because that's how I feel too.
I took the opportunity to watch the opening credits
Mhm.
one last time.
Yep,
I've been skipping them most
yep.
of the time.
Me too.
I don't know when they started doing this, and maybe you noticed, but at the very end of the credits of this episode,
Mhm.
they show where the train is on a
Mm.
map. They showed that it was driving on a stretch of track at the Horn of Africa. I went back to the
Mm.
first season and checked out a couple,
Yeah.
and it didn't seem like they did that. So I'm wondering, like, where between season 1 and this
Yeah.
last
I mean, it
episode
could
they
have been a
started.
season 4 thing,
Yeah,
or it could
maybe.
have yeah.
But they've been almost all on the Horn of Africa. Maybe they don't do it every episode, and it was just the seasons, because they're
Yeah.
all on the Horn of Africa the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That train is not moving around like it used to.
Not at all.
Tracks are withering in the
Yes.
cold.
Yeah.
Uh, Big Alice has been slaved to
Mhm.
Snowpiercer.
Yeah, they get the controls
Yep.
off of it. And yeah, just basically make it into just a slave, I guess is the
Yeah.
word you wanna use. I was thinking when you have on your, in a computer and you have, like, 2 drives,
Yeah,
and I was like,
slave.
"What" exactly,
Slave
it's
and
like
master.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
about to say, I was like, "What do you call them?" Like, "It's master and slave." So, yeah, that's that's what it would be anyways.
Critical race theory is a thing, Donnell,
Yes.
okay? It is it is deep in everything, okay?
Yes.
We started making computers in, like, the '60s or something, and someone
Yeah.
was like, "Okay, well, we got one drive here and one drive here. What would you call it?" "Well, I don't know. Why don't we call it, slave
It's
and
like,
master?"
I say
It's
that
like,
sla or that drive's, only doing what the other drive's
"We're
telling
in
it to
Texas
do.
Instruments." All right, where am I going?
Anyways.
Anyway, they are rushing to the train. They are a
Mhm.
final hurrah of
Yes.
taking over the train. I'm like, where was this the whole season? They could
Yeah.
have taken the train anytime. They get pushed back by some gas, and Ruth
Mhm.
gets taken prisoner.
Ruth gets grabbed. One thing I mean, I guess, like I said, and she does, but Leighton's just like they get gassed, and they're basically like, "Okay, what's our new plan?" And Leighton's just like, "Okay, we're gonna split into 2 groups. Somebody's gonna go to the back, get people from at Big Alice, then we're gonna go forward, blah, 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 blah." And I just love that I think it was Jody was like, "What about Ruth?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Leighton, you just kinda just completely was like, meh." Like, I
No,
mean, he
he
says
realized that they're in a war right
which is
now.
true.
Like, you don't have time to. You're like, she got taken prisoner, man. We got other shit to
Yeah,
worry
yeah.
about. She's not the only leader around.
Basically, if this goes off as is intended, this could be the end of the world.
Yeah.
So it's like, yep.
They
Which
they
I
gotta they
will
gotta
say,
cover, like, 45 cars
45
in,
cars.
like, an hour or something. I'm like,
Yep.
"No chance."
So yeah, while this is happening, Melody and Alex make it a Big Alex. Like I said, not Big
Big Alice.
Alice.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And like I said, like we already said, it's slaved. And Alex starts trying to fix it because I guess he's wanting to start a tug of war between the engines or whatever to stall for time. And start trying to fix it. And Melody is trying to reason with her, and then they kind of hit on Wilfred. And this is where Alex lets it be known that Wilfred is dead.
yeah.
And this is where Melody, unlike Leighton, who was like, "Hey,
How
we're in
would
the
you
middle of
keep
a
that
war."
secret? That information would spread like wildfire.
I mean, but no one else was really around for it.
But I don't know. I feel like Leighton would say it. He'd give out a war cry. I don't
I
know.
mean,
I feel
maybe.
like that's information you don't keep to yourself,
Yeah, yeah.
and it just because he's a major enemy,
Oh yeah.
right?
I mean, yeah.
So, like, you spread that information around, and then everybody. I mean, it's Wilford. He's
Mhm.
kind of like a mythical figure
I mean,
amongst the trained
he has
people.
been, yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
so
that when he first showed up
yeah,
on the train, that moment, that was something else.
yeah.
That was some prime
It's a way
time
to
bean right there.
dishearten the enemy because they
Mhm.
love Wilford.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, it's just surprising to me that Mel didn't already know.
Yeah, but, and literally Mel tries to hash out their feelings about Wilford right then and there, and this is like I said, it's like Leighton with Ruth. I was like, "Melody, shut the hell up." I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
"I know Wilford was your mentor, and he also was the man who tormented you, but as Melody even pointed out, like, he kept your daughter alive, and for Alex, that was he was a father figure and all this stuff." So I get there's a lot of baggage that both of
yeah.
you need to sift through,
Keep that
but
boxed up
yeah, I was like,
until
Keep
for just
put that
3 more
box
hours, just
exactly,
3
3
hours.
hours, put that box in the back cupboard for 3
Yeah.
hours. When you get back to New Eden, you can open it up and have as much time as you want to go through it, but right now, it's just like, "Close that box. What the hell are you doing, Melody?"
So, we find out what they've been doing for 9 months.
Yes.
What
No. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
F?
This
This
was
literally goes off the rails.
literally, yes.
I was like,
So my
"What is
question
happening?"
is
This is
this,
some
though.
Mortal Engines stuff right
My
here.
question is this: so 9 months, they're doing some work to basically give the train treads, and then they had Big Alice for like a couple of weeks, and I'm like, is that enough time to also get Big Alice? Why do I keep trying to say? I know Alex is in the soap, but I keep trying to say
Yeah.
Big Alex, but Big Alice
Yeah,
like set up like
modified, yeah.
that, and then
While they're
also,
moving
yeah, and then the other
in
thing
the
is
cold,
also I'm
yeah.
like, how did Alex or any of the engineers when they were still in the train back and then getting it back and setting it up as a generator again, how did nobody like knows like, hey, you guys notice there's like treads down here
I'm
all of a
assuming it
sudden?
was just being dragged or something, because you could
Maybe,
just drag it.
I guess.
But then, like, why do you
But
need Big
then what is it
Alice?
doing? It's not powering
Yeah, the
anything.
whole point was getting Big Alice so you
Yeah.
had enough power to go off-road
Mm-hmm.
and go on the icy ocean.
Yeah.
By the way, looked amazing. Dude,
Mm-hmm.
that ending shot at the very
When
end
it's
of the
doing the
show, when it's
round.
doing that
Yeah.
round around that big crevice,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Ooh, this is why I'm here. This
Yeah.
is yeah, yeah."
They remembered what got them started. It was the great shots. But yeah, so they
By the way, did you have to do this? Because the whole thing, not you, obviously.
what are you accusing me of, Robert?
The I gave you a look. I was like, "Why,
I
Donnell?
know. I
Why have
was
you
like,
done this to us?"
does Robert think I was a part of the show?
Um, is there nowhere else you could have launched the rocket?
I mean, apparently just the middle of the ocean. Like like that's I mean, I guess it's like the
I guess
math.
you wanna heat up the ocean first?
Either that or maybe like because they did make it clear, like you said, there was only a certain amount of window for them to do it in, and the conditions had to be just right. So my only thought is like maybe just by studying like weather patterns and
Mm.
all that stuff, they just felt like
I needed more.
this is our window where that everything the stars align
Yeah.
essentially where and
There's places they coulda cut 5 minutes to tell me why
yeah,
there was such a rush and why they had to go get to the ocean to
yeah, to deploy it.
yeah. Also, can the train just stay off the tracks
Yeah.
forever?
I mean, it
It
seems that
seems that
way. I
way
was
to
like,
me.
this is if because they allude to that there's a possibility that they might need the train again one day.
Yeah.
And if that does come, it's like, well, then that new Snowpiercer is all going to be like just going
Yeah.
wherever the hell you want,
Yeah,
off
just go
roaded.
circle the ocean for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, it's gonna get be exciting. You can take that train wherever you want now with these customizations. I do have to wonder though, like we didn't get the final train count, but I'm like, with how big that is, like, there's a reason why trains run on tracks with how long they are, like, to make
Yeah.
that manageable and, when you're doing a curve because it's on a track, you know exactly how that
Yeah.
curve is gonna go for every track or every train, where I'm like, yeah, having something this long, driving
Yeah.
around and taking turns, I'm just like I said, there's a reason trains
There's a
run
weight
tracks.
problem and stuff.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, if you look at like a stop train,
Yeah.
almost a sliver of the wheel of each wheel is touching the actual
Mhm.
train track. It's not like just sitting flush on that thing. They maximize both the track and the wheels that
Yeah.
as little surface area is in contact to have as little friction as
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm just like, I don't know if I mean, even that turn at the end that we see around that
That
crater,
was too sharp.
I don't know this train gonna handle that in real life. So yeah,
We about to
maybe.
drift this train. We need
Oh
to get
man.
Vin Diesel in the in the engine, like
in the engine talking about family. Anyways, so they take the train off track and basically they devise a plan that Nema essentially he's going to want to be the one in control of launch the missile. He has a remote case that he can do it from, but if they can interrupt, there's a lot of interrupting radio waves in this season.
yeah.
But if they can interrupt the radio waves, um, then that will force him to have to go back to the actual missile room to get it ready. So that's their plan. They're gonna have Melody and Alex go and try to disarm the bomb while everybody else, just pushes forward to cause a big distraction. Makes sense. Solid plan. Uh I feel like now I'm trying to remember exactly what happens. Suddenly I can't remember how Till and Oz get caught. Because I felt like they start a fight that very quickly falls apart. And I'm just like, "Oh, no, I feel like we had a
There was
solid
a lot of
plan."
action in this and a lot of moving parts.
Yes.
I do wanna talk about the brief conversation that Nema and Ruth have while she's in
Mm.
custody,
Oh, yeah.
and boy, when she stared at that little office thing where they give the speeches,
Yeah.
I was like, "Come on, Ruth.
Yeah.
Just sit down one more
Just
time. I wanna hear you
flip
push
the
the
switch.
button."
Boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom.
Even if you, like, go the opposite direction, be like, "Fight, fight, fight,"
Yeah.
then get on the horn, man.
I will say, because we do get a Ruth speech a little bit later when
Yeah.
she goes to
Oh,
the
General Ruth takes charge, yeah.
what I love though is just like while she's General Ruth and she's giving this inspiring speech, and it is inspiring, it's still like you still see that prim and proper Ruth
Oh,
talking
yeah.
through it. Like
Oh,
I just
yeah.
love that. Like like getting everybody rallied up, but it's still all prim and proper and
Yeah.
and it's like I love that there
Can't
with this
take the girl out of the teals,
yeah,
man.
I was about to say with this being the series in, it's nice to like there was some really good character development with different characters. I mean, Roach,
Leighton,
Leighton,
Josie.
Josie had good character development, but it went off the rails at the end here. Just I mean, it
Yeah.
came
Well, I mean,
back.
she got injected with frozen stuff.
True,
I mean, like,
true.
yeah.
I didn't one I really like, and I mean a lot of it was this episode, but actually just the whole season. One I really liked is Oz.
Yeah.
Oz is probably one of my favorite character developments. I'm not saying he's actually he's probably pretty high up on my characters also favorite characters, but like just to see him go. I mean, we saw for a moment when you threw on that for season one episode.
Yeah.
Got to see like some old,
Oh, yeah.
Till in her uniform and Rose and stuff. I'm like, yeah, just remembering who these characters were at the beginning and who they are now. Uh, fantastic. Um,
We just say the name of the Ruth actress, Allison Wright, and I really, like, hope she goes on to do some wonderful things.
yeah,
I mean, she's been around.
she's been around, but hopefully, like
She's not a new
we'll
element, but this is
start
the first
seeing her
time that
name show
this
up
show is, like,
more.
what brought her to, like, "Oh, this is a actress that I wanna pay attention to."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I would really like to see some more
Oh, I
of
guess
her.
she was in 47 episodes of The Americans. Interesting. That was a
Mm,
great show
mm.
that everyone should watch.
I
Yeah.
watched like the first season and then I
Oh,
kind of
go
just
check it
fell
out,
out
man.
and
Yeah.
never got back to it.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about The Americans.
Yeah. So
But yeah, no, yeah, Till, she's getting into fighting, and she ends up in, one of their uniforms
yeah,
that
Till and
luckily has, like, a
Oz
face mask covering everything.
get in uniform and they're taking oh wait, that's right, they don't get captured till later. That's why my
Yeah.
brain couldn't figure out. Yeah, that's right. So Till and Oz get in uniform, they capture get or take out two people, um, get in their uniforms, and they're taking what's his name? Suddenly I can't remember his name.
Hobby.
Javi, yes, they're taking Javi so he can interrupt the train signal.
Yeah.
And Josie goes with him. And I know why Josie went
Yeah.
with him, is Josie had her own agenda to get rid of Hawthorne. But big picture me
Hawthorne?
is
You mean Headwood?
Headwood, yeah. Big picture me is looking at this and I'm just like, no, there's no, I don't, just no. Like, you have two people in disguise for a reason. Javi is already, like I said, they're escorting him as a
Yeah.
prisoner, but still, Javi already is as a risk if they can't pull off convincing. There's no reason for like, and there was no reason for Josie to go with him. Like
Yeah.
you got to keep the unit small. You're
Well,
just trying to
Josie was gonna go where she wanted to go,
true.
yeah.
Um,
Because Leighton told her to come with him,
yeah,
and she's like, "No, I got other places to be,"
yeah.
and whatnot. I mean,
Um,
there was a whole discussion of, like, Headwood is not the
is not
another thing.
the
Let's talk about that. She does get to Headwood
she does
and then doesn't kill her.
doesn't so
No one
that's what I'm saying.
died!
No one but Nima dies in this episode,
Yeah.
even on the bad guys. They
But
specifically
none of the
show
good
him.
guys died.
Yeah,
That's
which
crazy to me.
that's one of the things I was gonna
I
talk
really thought,
about.
like, Boki was gonna die
I
for
thought
sure.
for sure, especially when he got in that fight before when he was up above while Leighton was below.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, "Oh, here goes Boki," and I was sad, and then he got up.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I thought it was gonna happen when, because Leighton comes and does his fight with Rat, the one that so that was the soldier that took
Yeah.
the baby,
Yep, yep.
took,
He was Canadian.
yeah,
Sorry.
and
I just 'cause during this fight, you get to see because I remember all the soldiers came from different places, and, you get to see his sleeve, and he has a Canadian flag, and he was like, a Canadian."
and then Bogut stands up and is like, "Bridgman, ready to do his
Yeah.
duty," and, like, stand guard at the door. I'm like, "Oh, he's gonna die." Like,
Mhm.
Hodor,
Yep.
like, keeping that door closed.
He's
Yeah.
gonna die
Again,
holding the
he's
door.
gonna have, like, a majestic, like, awesome death where he's,
Yeah.
like, holding back, like, a dozen guys.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But nope. Yeah, because yeah, so Josie goes with them. They get Javi to his destination so he can start the programming. And they're like, okay, Oz is like, hey, if we just are standing here, like we could get caught off guard. Let's go check out, both directions.
Yeah.
And so Till goes one way, and then Josie's like, I'll check up front. I'm like, once again, I'm like, no, Josie, you are not in disguise. You stay freaking put. Like, and Josie is the one who comes back, like, there's soldiers coming. I'm like, I guess he stayed hidden. But I'm like, if you get caught, if you get spotted, like, there goes everything. And so I was just like, Josie was very much, I'll be honest, Josie has annoyed me a lot this season.
Yeah.
Like, she's a lot, ever since her, and I guess, I don't know, maybe I just have something about parents abandoning their children and just acting like it's cool. But ever since her, even though
Yeah.
Miles isn't that big of a character, just the thought of it is like, ever since she abandoned Miles at the end of season 3, Josie has rubbed me the wrong way. And this episode just compounded that because it's like, what are you doing? The fate of mankind is on the line, and you are making dumb
Yeah.
choices. Like, I'm like, your choices could literally cause the world to end. Like, the world could be everyone's dying, and it'd be like, this is all Josie's fault. Just like literally, she just annoyed me
Yeah.
this episode.
Well, let's talk about the disguise problem, okay?
Okay.
This is there's, like, how many people in the world?
Yeah.
Like 1,000?
Probably around there.
Probably less
Roughly.
now,
Yeah.
right? You know everybody on the train.
Yeah.
Javi's wandering around. He's not a train guy.
You
He's
definitely
a
know all
demean
your
guy.
soldiers. You know all your
Yeah, you're like, "That is not a person that I have seen
yeah.
on this train before.
Not
Something is going
that's not
on."
a tech guy
And
I've seen
even if you're
before.
wearing a mask, you would
Voices
recognize
and even the
Till. It's like,
eyes.
yeah,
Yeah, like, yeah.
hair color, like, you know who everybody is
Mhm.
just because there's
There's not that many of
I
them.
grew up in a town with, like, 40,000 people. I knew, like, 20,000 of them by face.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. No, it's not believable.
yeah.
That was the thing I was gonna
I
bring up.
mean, that does turn it
Definitely.
on them because they think that they're still, like, in disguise, and then
Mhm.
one of the soldiers is like, just takes Till hostage
Yep.
because he knows, like,
He knows, he's like, "You're not."
that's not one of the, like, 30 soldiers in existence,
Yeah.
you
Not
know?
one of the people he's regularly had, meals with in the mess hall where he's just like, you would know. Like, that's
Yeah.
especially, yeah, the soldier part, but even like Javi, when they're like, yeah, the tech guy, and then Javi comes out to explain what's going on. And I'm just like, no, the moment they see Javi, they'd be like, which tech guy is this?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, um, but anyways, Javi does successfully block the
Yeah.
signal. Josie splits off from the group because he has things to do. As we already said, she goes after what's her name again? I want to say Hawthorne.
Headwood.
Hedgewood. I
Headwood.
am all messed up
Headwood.
today. Hedgewood. She goes after Hedgewood.
Head.
Head Hedwood.
Not hedge, head.
Is it Head? Oh, it was Hedgewood.
I'm pretty sure it's Headwood.
Hedwood. Okay.
Maybe it is Hedgewood. Well, now
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, I hate the character.
Yeah.
She's kinda stupid.
Like I said, Josie was annoying me all this episode, but the one thing that I was sitting there feeling good about, like, well, at least he's gonna kill Hedgewood or Hedwood, whichever one it is. I was feeling good about that. So when she doesn't, like, I know it's meant to be a good thing, like, Josie was able to see past, her hate and see the bigger picture of saving mankind, but as I already alluded to, Josie's been annoying me this whole season, and the one thing I wanted Josie to do was kill Hedgewood, and she couldn't even do that.
Yeah.
She couldn't even do that. I was like, "Come on, Josie, you had one thing to do."
I
It
can't find what her Headwood. It is Headwood.
Okay, it is Hedgewood,
Yeah,
or
head.
Hedwood,
Head, yeah.
yes.
So let's talk about it for a second. She has a little bit of a role in this. Apparently, she brings one of the guys back
Yes,
from the dead.
and we
W
never see anything
No,
else
no,
about that.
he's the one who takes Till hostage, I'm pretty sure.
Was he?
Yeah.
I don't
I
think
don't know, but
so.
yeah, it's so glossed
'Cause I
over
don't
that,
think he
like,
would talk.
just nonchalantly bring someone
Yeah.
back from the dead.
They literally so Nema literally she interrupts Nema while he's getting ready to launch his rocket, drags him down a hallway to show him something, and even Nema's like, "I don't have time for this." Like, "Hey, I don't." But then she's like, "But let me show you what I did," and they show that she's brought a man back from the dead, and even Nema's like, "Whoa, how'd you do this?" And then unless it is that guy, but I don't think it was. I don't think that was. Maybe it was. If it was, they didn't make it clear it was, and then it still wasn't impactful. But I don't think it was. And so if it's my view, that was the end of it. It's like, hey, brought a zombie back, cool. And then we just move. I kept during the whole ending. I kept expecting something to just like zombie soldier to bust out of somewhere and ruin everybody's day. Like I thought that was there's just so many times where like they would do a close up on somebody's face and I'm like zombie soldier, no,
Yeah.
and I just kept that and it never happened. So yeah, that was a very weird thing. I really I think so. They and here we go with the freaking pun. They're running out of track at the end here, Robert. You know, and so they were just trying to put things together as they could, and I feel
Yeah.
like there were some things that got left by the wayside. I think Soldier was one, and I think yeah,
I mean, if that was what they were gonna do, like, focus on
mm-hmm.
strongly in a season, I'm glad that they didn't get the budget to do it, because that was too much.
Yeah,
I don't need zombies on my
yeah.
ice train,
I think
okay?
also another thing that this is going back to the previous episode or the episode before that. I can't remember which one. But I think another thing that fell by the wayside is just a proper, at least in my opinion, I just feel this way, a proper send off for Wilfred. Like for him just to take a pill and kill
Yeah.
himself, and then we're like, and we're done. That just does not feel like the way they were intending for that character to exit the series. Like, yeah. But anyways, um, back on point. Melody,
They make it to the car, to the with the
yeah, I was
missile.
gonna say Melody
Yeah.
and Alex make it to the car, and they start to disassemble the warhead.
Yep.
And they're basically like pulling out these vials. And Alex even asks, like, can't we just take out the warhead? And I was like, no, it's locked in there. And I'm just like, I just feel like this would be one of the and then like I said, that's what it's supposed to be. Like this would be one of the most nerve-wracking things of knowing that you're working on an active warhead
Yeah.
with vials of poison that apparently can kill you instantly. Because Alex
Yeah.
even asked, he's like, "What
Well,
happens if we drop on
yeah.
this?" And also knowing that there is already a countdown for the warhead that you are actively working on to launch at any minute. Where if you are, you're like, "I think we have 20 minutes," but not like you're watching your watch. So I'm
Yeah.
just like, that has got to be one of the most stressful, nerve-wracking
Yeah.
circumstances you could be in. We're like,
Also,
okay.
this isn't a nuke,
No.
and pulling the vials out and risking breaking them is a
Mhm.
dangerous endeavor.
Yeah.
As they prove, there are so many other things you could do to this rocket
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
to to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, there probably's gotta be some way to disable it from
Yeah.
even launching and stuff, like, there had to be and there's 2 scientists, they gotta be able to figure some other than, "Let's pull
That's
out these
they're
vials."
not just scientists, they're engineers.
Engineers.
Yeah.
Engineers. Literally 2 of the last smartest people on the
Yeah.
face of the planet.
And all it takes is a pin to to
Wow, I just
to break the
realized,
rocket.
like, I mean, this is no offense to all the rest of the characters, but we went from having 6 of the last brilliant minds to 3
Yeah.
because we lost Wilford, Ben, and Nema. Okay, actually, no, I guess Headwood is still there, so I guess that's actually there's
Yeah.
4 brilliant minds. But I'm just like, that's a huge loss of like,
Oh, a lot of brain drain, yeah.
everybody is great. Don't get me wrong, I love me some Till, but I was like, in order to get this world back on
Yeah.
track. What is it?
Just roll with it,
I
Donnell.
know, I know. But yeah, in order to do that, like you're gonna need as many of brilliant people as are. We're just killing them. We lost 3 of the most brilliant people left in the planet. 3 out of 7. That's a huge
Yeah.
loss.
So they're disarming the bomb,
Yep.
and Nema gets in
Yep.
and holding the gun, has them put all the rods back in, and then him and Mel have a fight conversation
Mhm.
about, hey, this rocket ain't gonna work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And she somehow, it seems, convinces him
Somehow
that it's
convinces him
wrong.
now. Basically, she points out that, like it's his fault that this is all started, that originally, the first time, it was all just supposed to work, and it didn't. That's how the world ended up frozen, and points out all those flaws, and this is the first time where he agrees,
Yeah,
like, when it's too
gets
late.
pushed over the
And
edge.
I'm just like, either A, it's one of 2 things, like, either A, Melody, you could have tried harder in all your previous conversations,
Yeah.
because if you could have convinced him at any of those other points with the same information, or B, if it was just, like, literally a case of now that it's done, he's willing to accept it even though we're dying. I'm just like, "Nima, you suck, because that means you voluntarily, because like I said, he knew all this before, and, like, literally for his ego, even though he knows it's gonna fail, he still dooms mankind, like, that makes you, like, just the worst of the
Yeah,
worst,
right,
like,
right.
you're literally like, for your ego, even if it was, like, a case of, like, 50-50, or even, like, let's say a 30% chance of you succeeding and 70% lose, I could still be like, "Okay, well, ego's still dumb to do it on, but it's like, you still there was 30% chance you'd save the world, so
Which is
maybe
why I don't
you live with
understand
your
what happens
ego."
next,
Yeah.
is he chooses to stay in the car and freeze to death.
Mhm.
I'm like, "No, you're lot right, there's a small sliver of a chance it might work.
Yeah.
Get out with them and go see if it works."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that when they're like he's like, "Okay, you gotta get away from here as far as you can. Get away from Africa." I'm like,
Mhm.
"How?
Yeah, and where
Where?
are you gonna
This
go?
whole rocket's supposed to change the planet,
Yeah,
not Africa."
I mean, the one thing I was thinking as a rocket launches, because as the rocket does launch, as a rocket launches, like, is this them setting up, like, basically that, the world, like, they're just gonna go back to, like, living in Snowpiercer because the world is uninhabitable now, not because of everything being frozen, but because, like, there's no atmosphere, and they're gonna, like, live in the train? Because 'cause I'm like, "That's weird."
Well, it somehow like, destroyed the electromagnetic barrier or something, and it's, like,
Yeah,
let radiation in
yeah, which guess the
and
train's not gonna protect you from that.
caused the blood to boil away. Like, I don't
Mhm.
think the trains got
Yeah.
that it was designed with that in mind.
I
Yeah.
mean, I wonder how long it would take, because like, do you got time to retrofit that train and maybe be able to pipe it, or maybe it can go underground, I don't know. But,
Go
anyways,
to the silo. That's what you do.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Try and seal yourself in there and hope.
Mhm.
But then it's just look, this is a very bleak ending
Yeah,
in my I mean, there's kinda like the hope thing in the end, which we'll talk about,
yeah.
but yeah, once like, the rocket launches,
Mhm.
but
And everybody's just watching it,
yeah.
and you're just like,
I mean, what else can you do?
yeah, you're
Yeah.
just like, "That's it, we're all dead."
But Alex pulled one pin
Mhm.
from the latch door, which
Which
is all it takes,
had it open up
and that
and
pin could just
froze the
easily be pulled
inside.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, froze the inside, rocket crashes. Like you said, yeah, why not just start with
Yeah.
that instead of
And it
trying to remove the body?
explodes.
Mhm.
I'm like, "Well, then you've got a problem in that general region," which is
Yes.
also the general region of New Eden. I don't
Yeah.
know how far out into the ocean they got. I guess they
Yeah.
went a couple of hours, but still,
Still, yeah.
this warhead was supposed to affect the planet,
Mhm. It
and you just
it had
detonated it
enough
off the
compound
coast.
to, yeah, probably make things,
Even if it froze,
yeah.
you're still burning all that chemical into the atmosphere. I don't know. I
Mhm.
don't know how it works. But they didn't tell us enough about the science, but
I mean, it
it's
could've,
bad.
yeah.
It's bad. That's what I'm saying.
But then this is where we get our shot of the impossible turn, as they get Snowpiercer to turn around.
Beautiful
Every
impossible turn.
everybody, like I said, I mean, like I said, Nima's gone anyways, but like everybody just, and then that's it. Just the fight's over. Everybody's cool. Even the engineer who was driving the train is just like, hey, the
Yeah.
bridge is
I
yours.
do love at the end
And
when they're all in the bar and they're just like, well, it turns out she didn't care about the admiral or anything.
yeah,
She's just a good engineer.
mm-hmm.
And everyone's like, cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he's cool. So yeah, everybody gets back, and we get a nice send off scene of everybody in the bar. Um,
Brief scene of
Audrey.
Mel on the PA
Oh yeah, yeah.
doing a
Mel
final
hits
thing.
up, which was nice. Nice throwback to the beginning of the series.
She also mentions that New Eden is -6 degrees.
Yeah,
They
-6 degrees Celsius, because I
okay,
had to
that
look that up.
I was about to say like they are not dressed
So
for
it's
negative
still
six.
so that -6 degrees Celsius is 22 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's still below freezing.
They're still not dressed
Yeah.
for 22.
And the other thing that got me is like, I was just sitting there. I was like, two thoughts went through my head is A, we talked about once before, would I had stayed on Snowpiercer or gotten off of New Eden back at the end of season 3. And after hearing them say a balmy 22 degrees Fahrenheit, I was like, oh, I'm staying on the train
Yeah,
because I do not do cold at all,
that's
and
right.
like all the time. And then also, other thing I was thinking, with the end of the series now, with Snowpiercer being decommission or whatever they're gonna do with it, and not really an option anymore. I'm like, Donnell is not built for the Snowpiercer. Like, the fact that the end game is like, "Yeah, we're all gonna get off the train and go live in sub-freezing or in freezing weather." I'd be like, "Mm, mhm, mm."
Yeah, I
That
would still
sounds like
like,
the
they're talking
worst.
about bringing all the Snowpiercer people back to New Eden, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "There's still a lot of people that wanna stay on the train, I bet."
Yeah, probably.
Like, you don't have to
Especially
you
now that you got
can
the off-world
you can
or
do a slow
off-road
roll of
version.
immigration from the train to New Eden and let it keep
Mhm.
doing its rounds.
Yep.
You don't have to let them in all at
You don't
once.
have to it just yeah, make sure the things actually gonna work out. But yeah, so we get Alex and Mel talking actually before our send-off scene, and basically they left it very ambiguous about how things are gonna turn out
Not
because
good.
they're like, "Yeah,
It's
it could be
over.
tomorrow or it could be 50 years," and I'm just like, "Hmm, okay,
Maybe
so"
get on the train.
yeah, I'm like, I guess maybe don't decommission the train. Maybe have that thing ready to fire up because this pocket of New Eden could go away at any point.
So I almost completely ignored the entire, like, bar scene.
Yeah,
It's just not my cup of tea,
same for
a little
me.
too hokey,
I
but
I literally skipped through until I got to the point where Mel and Leighton are talking.
Javi and Plant Lady.
Yeah, we did get to see Javi and Sykes, which we brought that up. So, like I said, they're not sure what to do with Snowpiercer, but it can't stay idle without some changes done. So Javi, one is though he the way Sykes said it, he made it sound like he was never coming back. Because literally,
Yeah.
Javi comes up and he was like, "Hey, we gotta, until we figure out what we're gonna do with Snowpiercer, someone got to take it out. So that's gonna be me." And Sykes like, "You're leaving?" I'm like, "For a couple of days." I was like, "Calm down." It's
She
like
was
he
very
literally
upset,
I
yeah.
know, but also,
Shocked,
like I
yeah.
said, that we do get, me and you were talking about it during the series. You're like, I think there's something there, and then we
Yeah.
get confirmation there was
Also,
something
she's
there.
not allowed to leave.
Why is she not allowed to
She's the
leave?
plant lady. She
True.
grows the
I'm
food,
sure
and you just had a
she
major
works with
population increase.
other people who also like she's not the only person working in there. I'm sure other
Yeah.
people can
No,
hold it down.
there's so many problems. You got the bubble collapse,
Mhm.
right? It's not gonna expand.
Yeah.
They even if it's 50 years, they're gonna outgrow this bubble real fast.
Yep.
And you got a food shortage because remember they lost 2 of the food cars.
Yeah. You got more cars though that you can turn into food cars, hopefully.
Yeah, fast enough to start feeding the whole village.
Well, I mean, actually, probably you probably have some food cars from Snowpiercer because
I
Snowpiercer did
guess.
have it
Yeah,
was
yes,
making
fair
its
enough,
own
fair
food.
enough.
So
But it's
yeah,
gotta leave. Hobby's gotta take it away.
hopefully you can take
There's
some
look,
cars off
it's a
before it
dire
leaves.
situation,
Yeah.
Donnell.
So
It's
I
not
mean, here's my
good.
thing: if the bubble lasts, like if you can find out for 50 years, I would say there's a pot. I mean, you got Javi, you got Alex, you got Mel, you got Headwood. So there's some people there. Maybe they in that 50 years can figure out some way to expand the bubble or stabilize it, but they make it very much you don't know how much time you have.
Yeah.
Um,
But there's a sliver of hope. They pan
oh
across the
yeah,
globe,
to
which is
just
way too far away to save them,
yeah,
to some flowers
yeah.
growing in the mountain. And my God, why was it a cartoon?
The only thing I could think I was trying to figure that out too. The only thing I could think is that it's in reference to because the original Snowpiercer,
It was a comic book.
the story continues from this movie or stuff in the comic, and so the only thing I can think is that they were like making a allusion to that. I don't know.
Then do like a comic panel or something.
I mean, it was kind of comic-esque looking.
I don't know. It was just it
It
was
was
kinda like,
weird.
"What
It
is
was
happening right
at
now?"
first I was like when I first saw it because I didn't realize it was a cartoon. I was like, "This is really bad CGI." And then once I realized like, "Oh no, it's animated." I was like, "That's weird." But yeah, so I want to talk about because we the movie and like I said,
Yeah.
the movie and the show, of course, are not related. But the movie ends in a very bleak
Yeah.
spot when you really think about it. Like they kind of
Yeah, the
played up for
train
hopeful.
derails.
Yeah,
They get out, it's warm enough for
for
them
them to
to be
survive.
outside, and they see a polar
They
bear.
see a polar bear. There's no
Nothing
vegetation.
about this is promising,
Yeah,
okay?
exactly.
Except that you're outside, but you about to get eaten by a polar bear.
Yeah,
I guess the promising thing is that the polar bear is alive somehow, which means
yeah.
that there's something else that it
That the polar
eats
bear's
that's
eating.
eating off something that you might be able to eat.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But anyways, so that's the movie ending. Like I said, it's very bleak. I expected the show to have a more upbeat ending than the
It was
movie,
very middle of the
but
road.
I
I would have
thought it
gone
was
either
still
dark
gonna
or
be a darker, like what my thought of the ending was gonna be, honestly, was that the New Eden bubble, maybe they'd find out like it is gonna stay, but I thought, and because of this didn't happen, I thought it was gonna be bleak in the sense of this all the people they had to lose in order to secure this. Like, I thought for sure
Yeah.
we
I
were
don't know why
losing
you
some
don't when
major
you know it's the
characters.
last season, why don't you kill off more people?
I think it was they wanted like because at the end of the day, this is while it's not on my list of shows that pulled off the ending, that just were like Ozarks and Breaking
Yeah.
Bad and that sort of stuff, it's definitely not in my list of shows that just flubbed the whole ending.
Correct,
It
yeah.
correct like it
It is
it
middle of the road,
ended,
it's neither bad
and
nor
I'm
good.
okay. Like I'm okay with walking away. I don't feel jaded that they did it to me. But I think they could have. I don't know if they could have made it all the way up there, but I think they really could have done some things to elevate this ending that would have made it more impactful, more fulfilling in a sense. Like I said, honestly,
Yeah.
it sounds messed up. It's like they really needed to kill some of the characters. Like there needed to be some stakes and some
Yeah.
sacrifice in this final season and this final episode. And the fact that nobody died, I was just like, other than Nema. Nema's the only
But he's a
casualty.
bad guy.
Yeah, he's the bad
All the
guy.
bad guys died. We're
Yeah.
talking good guys, yeah.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Even of the bad guys, it was only Nema. I mean, in this
And they were all
episode.
muted deaths.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, Wilford went on his own terms with
Mm-hmm.
a laced marijuana joint,
Yeah.
and
Nema
Nema
froze to
just
death.
chose
I
to kill
guess only
himself.
one is that Wilford killed frickin' what's his face?
Yeah,
The
Admiral, yeah.
Admiral. But yeah, it was just like, yeah,
Weird
they
villain
could have.
stuff going on in this season for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it was all over
Hmm.
the place. So yeah, I definitely feel like this was a case of because of money, and then also because they're kind of I mean they said before when we got to the third season that it was going to be the fourth season, but maybe they already knew that they were having they were getting canceled or the money
Yeah.
thing, so that's why. Because it just felt like there's so much more if they went into it knowing it was their last season and they were prepared for it. I think we would see a much different ending, but it was like, okay, we got to rush it. We don't have that much money. That's why we saw less of characters
Yeah.
and that sort of thing. And
Still technically in COVID.
yeah, and at the end of the day, like I said, they succeeded in making an ending where it's like, hey, okay, I can walk away from that and not feel
Because
any
wasn't
either
the
way.
season done like 2 years ago?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, yeah. But anyway, that's the end. I'm glad it happened. I really
I'm
am,
really glad that we got the final season. They could
cause
have kept that in a vault somewhere and never
hmm
let it out for the light of day.
yes.
I don't know why. I mean, I there was like an acquisition or something, and that's kinda why it got lost
Yeah,
in the shuffle, but
essentially,
there was no reason, like, aesthetically to hide this
yeah.
in the vault.
Yeah, and definitely like because the acquisition was basically when TNT was wrapped in with the rest of Time Warner stuff.
Yeah.
Um, they decided that they wanted to, which I think is a dumb move, but they were done with doing scripted content on TNT, which I understand that, and so I can understand even if you were halfway through making Snowpiercer season 4, I can understand canceling it then because like, oh, we're done with scripted stuff. But the fact that you're done with it, that's the part that I never understood. Is like you completed it though. It's done. It's
Yeah.
already like I get you don't want to do scripted content anymore. Then make this the last scripted thing on the network before you're
Yeah.
done because like it's done. Why not? And so yeah, it was really dumb. Like I said, glad we got it, and
This
it's
is what
nice to
happens when the executives don't watch the shows.
yeah. It was nice to have an ending, even if it's not the most satisfying ending.
What a fantastic series overall, though.
Yes, as a
Yes,
whole.
I really wanna go back and watch the first 2 seasons
Mm-hmm.
'cause even just, like, that sliver
Just
that we
that
saw, we
sliver. I
we
was like,
watched a second
oh
before we started
yeah.
the podcast of, like, the first season, I'm like, "Oh, man, so much crazy stuff was happening in that first
Mm-hmm.
season with, like, the girl who was a psychopathic
Yep.
killer, like,
LJ. Yep.
that's just all sorts of yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, no, I
So, a lot edgier in those
mhm.
first 2 seasons for sure.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, no, series as a whole gets a solid like B plus A minus from me, like solid because it was good stuff. Um,
And it's done.
season 1 and 2 are definitely A's, and then season 3 is like
D.
a D. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
This
yeah,
is this is a solid B.
yeah. It's a
Yeah.
solid B.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's it for Snowpiercer.
That is it.
Unless they make another reboot or
Is this? Let's see.
or or show or movie or
No, this
something.
is our third show we've completed now
Maybe.
because we had Doom Patrol, which
Yeah.
wrapped up. We had
The first show.
Stargirl,
Okay, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and
But
now
Stargirl was canceled, right? Or did
yeah,
we get a finale?
there was a finale, but it
Okay.
definitely was rushed.
Yeah.
Um, and then now Snowpiercer. So that's 3 in, 3 down. I mean,
Good times.
okay, I guess that's if we're counting other because I mean, there's with some of the Disney Marvel shows. I don't know. So those are different. I don't know why, but those are different. Okay.
Hey, everybody. So you're getting 2 episodes this week.
Mm-hmm.
With Agatha All Along came out same week as the series finale of Snowpiercer,
Yep.
and we didn't want to delay that, so we're just going to release it out. It's a double episode because they released 2 episodes at the
As
same
they
time.
always do.
We did some market research, and 100% of of the people who were involved in the market research said that we should start putting what we've been watching at the end. We
Yeah.
should move this part of plugging our self plug more towards the middle.
Yeah.
And so we're going to kind of be changing the format up a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
not too much. But as always, if you want to comment and let us know about the changes, you want us to go back or think they're good changes, we always love to hear from our listeners. As always, you can find us on our website, watchinitpod.com. There you can find links to our social media and to email us, watchinitpodcast@gmail.com. Donnell, what else should they do?
Well, as we already said, you're getting 2 episodes this week. We're going to be jumping into Agatha All Along, which is one of the last MCU shows we get this year. So, just keep that in mind. But
Did
yeah.
we get any other MCU shows this year?
Uh,
This was the only one, right?
yeah. No,
She-Hulk was last year,
She-Hulk
right?
was last
That's
year.
the last one I recall.
Yeah. Is this the only one we got this year? I think there is one more. We got What If season 2.
Okay,
We got What If
that'll
season
that'll
2.
count.
And then I feel like, because I saw the reason why I was bringing it up is like Marvel Zombies, which is a spinoff, and Wakanda Forever, I think is it, are both moved. Oh yeah, we're getting Ironheart still this year.
Really?
Yeah,
Before the end of the year?
supposedly, because they're in the article I was reading, they were saying that Wakanda Forever and Marvel Zombies had been moved into 2025, and so I think. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it was Ironheart was the other show we're getting, which we may or may not cover. Have to see how that goes over.
We'll cover. We'll at least bash it if we need to.
True. But anyways, check out Agatha if you haven't already, because we're going to be diving into that in our next episode. Give us any ratings, reviews, 5 stars. And thank you so much for listening. Bye.